Hello everyone, my name is Martin, and in this video I will show you how to use slots in Atavism. In order to configure item slots in Atavism, we have to use Atavism standalone editor. So we have to open items group, then slots, and here we have some predefined slots. So if we will want to create a new slot, let's call it third hand. Below we have a drop-down list, and this drop-down list defines if this slot will be visible when we will configure item for it. So for example, if I will select a tool and save this third hand slot as a tool, and I will open items, let's open sort, any hand, and then I will try to find this slot won't be available because this item is weapon type. If I would create a tool type, let's say a tool, then in this slot field I will have third hand slot. So this list in the slots section, in the slots module, defines, let me narrow it down, this function defines if this slot will be visible and in which group. So in our case we want to define third hand as a weapon, so I will remove this tool and I will add weapon. It can be in multiple functions, multiple groups, but right now we need only weapon group. So if I will modify this to weapon, save it, and I will try to edit this weapon, let's say, then I can define it as third hand slot. So after we created our third hand slot, because this is the, let's say, the most complex use case where we want to have a group of slots and not only one slot. So in this case we have additional slot and we want to assign it to a group. So we have to open slot group here, and we will want to equip our additional weapon, additional item into our third hand. Let's imagine our game. In our game we will be able to play with some kind of serpent warrior or some snake, something like that, that will have 4 or 6 hands even, or maybe we'll want to have not only 2 rings and earrings, but maybe more, like 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever. Then we will have to group these slots. It will let us to put an item defined with a slots group and not particular slot in any slot within that group. So for example, right now we have a ring here, and this ring group has main ring and off ring, and in item definition we have, let's move here, let's narrow it down to ring, and this ring is defined with ring slot. It's not main ring or off ring, it's just a ring. So it won't matter in which slot in game we will put this ring, this item. It will be equipped in main ring or off ring, but it can be equipped in one of them. And we can have more slots in such a group like ring, earring, and so on. But let's go back to our sort. So our sword, any hand sword, will be equipped in any hand group. And in this any hand group, we have, I believe, main hand and offhand by default. And now we have to add third hand slot. So now this any hand group will contain 3 slots, and it should let us to equip 3 items, no matter in which slot. So that's all for this Atavism editor part, and now we have to open our Unity editor. And in the Unity editor we have to add this slot into our character UI, so we would be able to see it, to visualize it. So in order to do this, we have to open our main world scene. In this case I have this scene unloaded, but it's in my hierarchy. But you can open this scene by default. It's in Assets, Dragon Sun, Scenes, and here you have main world here. So let's open this scene. Let's narrow it down to the character. And we will select the Dragon Sun character panel. And here, let's switch to scene view. Let's drag our character panel outside our canvas, so we could see it better. And now let's just select one of the slots. It's important to not select an image, an icon, but we need to select whole slot. Let's duplicate it, because it's a weapon. We will use similar icon for the third hand. So let's Ctrl D, duplicate it, let's rename it. We will rename it to third hand. And it's important also to set a slot name here, so it will be also third hand. And the most important thing is to match this slot name with our Atavism editor slot name that we have there. So it must be the same name. And then let's just drag this slot a bit above so we could see it. And the last thing is that we have to put this slot into the slot group. So we have to select equip slots here, and we have to drag this our new slot into our list. As you can see, this list contains all slots that we have in our character panel. Now we have to drag this slot onto the list, and the slot is added at the end. So now we have to select our panel again, and we have to drag it back into our canvas. This part is also important, because if we will not do this, then this panel will be constantly outside the canvas, and if we would open character panel, it wouldn't be visible for us. So now let's save the scene. Let's unload it. And let's enter the play mode. Let's log in, and let's enter the world. Now let's open our character panel, our backpack. Maybe let's clean it a bit up. Let's add our any hand swords. So we have 3 of them. And now we should be able to equip them into our slots. So as you can see, it's main hand, third hand, and offhand. So now this sort is in all of these 3 slots. And we can do the same with any kind of slot, so we can have as many as we want: armors, weapons, jewelry. It can be any kind of slot. Tools, like for harvesting. And the last thing that is important to mention is that based on the item type, like I showed you with the sort in the editor, wherever you will define item type like weapon, armor, or a tool, this item will participate in specific server actions. Like, for example, weapon will be taken into account if we will want to equip an ammo, or if we will use durability, it will be taken into account during durability calculations. And same for armor, and same for a tool. So for example, a tool is taken into account wherever we are trying to harvest resource nodes or build some objects. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you like it, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Atavism YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be alerted when new videos on Atavism are released. Have a great day and happy developing.